What's up, and welcome to 5280 Film Room.
We're a Colorado sports podcast by fans for fans.
Please subscribe, rate, and review, and also follow us on Facebook and Instagram.
You can also email us your input, questions, and ideas at 5280filmroom@gmail.com.
Thanks for listening. What's up, Colorado sports fans? Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm Alyssa.
I'm Gideon.
Miles.
And I'm Jordan.
And today we are going to talk a little Denver Broncos, a little Denver Nuggets, and some Colorado Avalanche. Kicking it back to our original format of talking a bunch of Colorado sports in one podcast. And thank you guys so much for tuning in. The Broncos, regular season is done. It was a rough season. We've got a handful of great legendary players who are finalists for the Hall of Fame, so that's something to look forward to watching. Champ Bailey, Steve Atwater, John Lynch, and of course Pat Bolin is a finalist as well.
Nice.
Aside from that, yeah.
Hey,
we'll
they got
see
another.
what happens.
They got another top 10 pick. It's time to celebrate.
Yes.
Let's not celebrate before they show that they know what to do with another
Get
top
an
10
awesome offensive lineman.
Agreed.
Move forward.
Or cornerback. We need to help really
There's
bad help.
no
in the
quarterback in this next league.
But you said cornerback.
Oh, corner.
Yeah.
Not quarter.
That's the
Yeah.
problem.
Corner.
We certainly needed
Yes.
quarterback
DB.
help, but there are no super stellar QBs in this draft class.
No.
We
No.
really missed the boat on that since last draft class was stacked.
Oh, yeah. Like, I wish we could go back and get Lamar Jackson.
We need
at the end
you.
first.
Oh, tell me about it. Vance Joseph has officially been relieved of his duties, as the Broncos like to put it. He was fired. He was fired from his job. The head coaching search is underway. I wish I could say I'm super interested, but I don't know. They're going to do what they're going to do,
really
and
speculate.
They're doing a lot of
I
interviews
have
right
no
now.
belief that it'll work.
But
As long as they hire an experienced head coach, I think I'll be okay with that.
yeah,
I don't want a new guy again.
John O is going to not leave a rock unturned.
No,
And
he
he's
said he was
gonna-
going to be shaking trees for quarterbacks
trees.
as well.
Nice.
So I'm not super confident in the methods that are at play.
Well,
Yeah, I don't know if they fall out of
quarterbacks aren't
trees.
quite like apples, so no.
I don't. You could probably
There's a lot of worms
shake
in a lot of quarterbacks.
all the trees in the land and find zero quarterbacks.
But I don't think he's tried that yet, so it's worth
I mean,
a shot,
yeah,
I guess.
Yeah,
You know? Shake
different
those trees,
strategy.
John.
Different strategy.
I mean, the last 4 years, it's been Case, Brock, Trevor, Paxton.
Who?
That's a little rough.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
Oh, don't forget Mark Sanchez.
Oh.
No, he was only preseason.
He was
like,
in the mix though.
preseason.
He was expected to be the starter, though.
In the mix.
Never
Didn't
made the
make
final
it.
roster.
No.
Butt fumble. So I don't know. I diehard Broncos fan. Will love them all my life. I'm sick of talking about them.
I'm just happy the season's over.
Yeah.
Like, we can be optimistic again. Like, I
That's
see
true.
great things
Fresh
for the Broncos
slate.
moving forward.
There's always next year.
Philip Lindsay's
What's great
gonna
about
get
sports.
healthy. We got Bradley Chubb. We've got Von Miller for now.
For now.
I don't know. I'm starting to think that Elway's more of the problem, not the solution.
I'm 100% in agreement with that, Miles.
Ever since the 2011 draft and luring Peyton, what else has he done?
Well, and I know this might be being a little over dramatic or reading into things too much, but phrasing like I'm going to shake trees for a quarterback makes me feel like this is a big, fun little game to you, and
Yeah.
you're not running one of the most legendary franchises in the National Football League.
It also doesn't help that there's not as much stability in the ownership group.
There's no
Yeah.
stability.
There's
Yeah.
no one to tell
So-
him no.
He's got
Yeah.
nobody checking him.
Yeah.
Zero accountability on the back end, and it's just, I'm going to do this.
And no
Cool.
matter who you are or what you've done or what you've accomplished, success is reliant on accountability.
Yeah.
If you do not have someone keeping you accountable, no matter who you are or what you have done, failure is imminent.
Sounds like my ACT in high school. A, D, B, D, C, A.
Did it work?
What patterns
Yeah,
did you
I
choose?
got a
Okay.
26.
Heck yeah.
17 on the
Of
rating
course you
section.
did.
I think the
Pretty
ownership
It's like,
Yeah.
I mean, shit rolls downhill, and I think it starts with the ownership.
Mm-hmm.
And the Broncos have been like shit since we've had ownership problems. And I don't see an end to that anytime soon.
There needs to be a definitive voice. For better or for worse.
Some good stabilization.
If it's for worse, then you learn it quick and a change is made. If it's for better, then the entire organization flourishes. This concept of being run by a trust is proving to be detrimental.
It's not good for the long term at all.
Absolutely not.
Or the short term, for that matter.
Not good for the organization,
More
not
so
good for the
long-term,
players,
but
and
yes.
not good for the fans.
Yeah.
Well, Joe Ellis said that he spoke to Pat Bowlen personally before he got ill, and he knows what Pat's plan was, and he's going to follow that plan. It's like, well, how about you tell us what the plan is?
Yeah,
Well,
that's
and
the other
also,
side
even
is
Pat
like,
being the smart businessman that he was, what his plan was and his vision was 3-4 years ago,
5 to 7.
that long,
Yeah.
it's not applicable anymore.
No, plans change over time.
The chess
And-
pieces have moved
Yes.
greatly on the table.
Yes. Players have moved. New players have come into the league that we had no idea how they were going to do, and now they're doing fantastic. I mean, not just one player, but there's dozens of players out there that weren't even in college yet. Back
And that's
in
the
2012.
nature of the game. So to say I'm living out his wishes from 5 to 7 years ago is irrational at best and completely delusional at worst.
I mean, it's just a framework at this point. But
Oh, well, and if you look at the history of the Broncos, like, Pat's wishes are for the Broncos to be successful.
yes,
Because they've always been successful with the Broncos. I think he would be very disappointed in how things are going right now.
absolutely.
So I don't know what this master plan is, or if there even is one. I kind of feel like the trust might be
Blowing
wanting.
smoke.
Yeah.
Smoke and mirrors. Smoke and mirrors.
I feel like
And
the trust is just going to hold on to it as long as they can.
It's a power play at this point, and that's
Well, I mean, we're talking
incredibly
about a
unfortunate.
franchise that's probably pushing, $2 billion in net worth. So,
and yet
I mean,
we
it's
can't find someone to sponsor naming our stadium.
Yeah, it's something that's needs to be taken very seriously. As long as we want to retain our fan base and continue to be a successful franchise. But if we go 2 or 3 more seasons of under 500, I definitely see some Denver fans kind of turning away and then kind of leaving the bandwagon, if you will.
Denver fans are spoiled.
Kind of like how the Nuggets were bad and then they were good and then they were bad again, and you see the ebbs and flows in attendance. And unfortunately, if the Broncos continue the losing ways, we're going to see a drop in attendance, and people are going to drop their season tickets.
Because the reality is, even when you're a true blue diehard fan, you're a human with a mortgage and expenses, and you're not going to be pouring your hard-earned money into going to games to watch your
Buying
team lose.
$200
And
jerseys.
I don't think that should be a definition of if you're a fan or not. Like, the reality is, even true fans who will stick with the team and follow the team and watch at home are not going to be dropping $500 to take their significant other to a Bronco game. That's how much it costs.
Yeah.
You have to save up and plan to
For,
go to a
like,
Broncos
okay
game.
seats.
Unless you are affluent, which most Bronco fans are not. They're just people.
Yeah.
They're just fans that love their team.
It's a good thing the Nuggets are doing well and you can get good seats for like $20, $25.
Exactly.
This sponsorship brought to you by Nuggets fans. They exist.
They exist.
We are also Nuggets fans.
Go to a game. Nuggets games are a blast. Wrapping things up on the Broncos, we did our preseason predictions. And then we did our kind of week of predictions throughout podcasting week to week about what we thought the score would be and if it would be a win or a loss. We kept track of all the preseason predictions on a piece of paper. And Jordan decided to go rogue and listen to every episode we've posted to figure out our score predictions throughout the season.
Oh, yeah.
What were your
What's
findings?
the verdict?
So,
Mr. Haynes?
I mean, we all did a lot of flip-flopping, but we were all still pretty consistent as far as what our preseason predictions was. So the only person that wasn't on par with their preseason prediction was Gideon. He actually got one extra win. So for both the preseason and during the season, Alyssa had 10.
That's
she's the champ.
right. Winner.
I had 9. Miles had 7, and Gideon had 9 for the preseason, but then 8 during the season.
After a flop.
Yeah,
Nice.
exactly.
But yours and Miles's were the same too?
Yes.
That's weird, because we
Right?
all flip-flopped on some of our preseason predictions.
But you're the winner.
I mean,
Yay.
I try. I try
with
to
your
predict
break-
when we're going to lose.
And with the breakout player. Also.
And that
Philip
one
Lindsay.
I will
Yeah.
gladly tout for years and years and
We need
years
to get you
come.
like an afro trophy.
Yes, please.
Philip Lindsay afro.
I'm seeing a lot more fan pictures on all these different fan groups on social media that are like running into Philip Lindsay and getting selfies, and I'm fundamentally jealous. I can't even explain.
It's cool to see him like still be himself. Like he's like,
He is. He's
I'm a
just
superstar,
like, and he doesn't
quote
have that
unquote.
celebrity face. You know how celebrities have that face in selfies with fans? That's kind of like.
well, when that
Dead
happens,
inside.
50 times a day,
I
every single day,
I can't even imagine.
He's gonna get sick of it. Like right now,
He's
is
still on
enjoying
cloud
it.
cloud nine.
He
Yeah,
knows
it's
where
great.
he came from.
That's
and he's
why
happy
I want
where
to
he's
run
at.
into him within the next 3 to 6 months.
Yeah.
Philip Lindsay, come hang out at your own stopping ground.
Otherwise, it'll be
Go to
that
King
forced
Soopers.
cheer smile.
Exactly. That like plastered on like work.
I'm not a
headshot.
jerk. I promise. I am not happy
I
right
love
now.
That would be tough. I don't even like people looking at me on the street.
I know, right?
It's like, why are you making eye contact?
Read your
bro?
book. This is the light rail.
Yeah.
Come on. Stop
Oh
looking
my
at me.
god, you guys are awful. I don't make eye contact with everyone.
You're that guy.
I am. I totally am. I'm like, you
I will
look
stare into
sad.
your
Let's
soul.
talk about your day.
Yeah, I'm mad because you're looking at me. JK.
So no, that's completely accurate. It was a rough season. We started rough. We had this peak in the middle where it seemed like we were really
Close.
gonna make a run, and then we just shattered into a million pieces. And
we
I think
started out
there's a
2-0.
lot of elements. I think there's a lot of
Well, and then we
blame.
won, what, 3 or 4
I hate
straight?
that word, but yeah.
After dropping 3 or something like that?
Yeah, I don't remember exactly.
We beat the Seahawks. We beat
Oakland.
the Raiders. We lost to the Ravens. We lost to Kansas City.
Oh, we had 4
We
in a
lost
row
to the
that we
Jets.
lost.
That was the one that really we lost to
Like,
the Rams.
derailed us.
Beat the Cardinals. Lost to the Chiefs. Lost to the Texans. Beat the Chargers. That's when it was like we
switched
got
to
some
gear.
momentum.
When we beat the Chargers and the Steelers back to back,
Steelers
I was like, they're
beat the
going
Chargers,
undefeated
beat the
after
Steelers,
this.
beat the Bengals. Like, we just had this surge of momentum after the bye week. And then we lost to the 49ers.
It was George Kittle. Let's be honest.
We lost
It
to
wasn't
George.
the
We
49ers.
lost to George Kittle and Kyle Shanahan. We lost to the Browns. We lost to the Raiders, and then we lost to the
And
Chargers.
we lost the rest of our season.
Yeah, that Raiders loss at the end of the season.
Ugh.
That was rough.
It's poopy.
It was on Christmas.
Yeah, that's when we knew we weren't going to go 8-8 and crush Pat's
Yeah.
dreams.
Well-
So, as enlightening and inspiring as this Broncos talk is, I would love for you guys to catch me up on the Nuggets.
Well, we are arguably the best team in the league.
And from what I'm gleaning
Definitely
from like
West.
Definitely
social,
the
I've
Yeah. for
watched
sure.
a lot of Nuggets games, but I can't say I followed them closely. So I'm getting a lot of my perception of things off social media. And fans are really upset at the lack of national attention.
Oh, yeah.
Is
I
that
mean,
valid?
Denver's
Oh, yeah.
not a big market for basketball.
To give you an example, really the only love we're getting is from Charles Barkley.
And a lot of people make fun of Charles Barkley. He knows his
He
basketball.
knows his stuff, but yeah.
Well,
But,
yeah.
well, no, because he's a mumbling, bumbling commentator. Like,
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He's the comedic relief, and then Shaq always burns him and stuff. Like, it's funny.
It's a bit.
and it works. Like, that's
Yeah.
what TNT sells, and it works. But
One
no,
what-
Charles Barkley still knows his basketball, and he can identify good talent when he sees it, and he's the only national sports sportscaster that is giving the Nuggets like legitimate love, and he's backing up Nikola Jokic as being MVP.
Nice.
When
He's saying he should be the front runner.
on ESPN, it's like Giannis, Harden, LeBron, KD, like the prototypical MVPs that have all each won it except for Giannis.
So in the big picture, where do the Nuggets stand?
Top of the West.
Top of the West.
Top of the West.
When was the last time that happened? Sorry.
2008.
Yeah, 2008, 2009 season.
This far in the season, though?
This is the best
Yeah.
start that we've had.
Best start we've had, but the 2008-2009 season was when we had Melo, Chauncey, Kenyon Martin,
Okay.
Nene. There's
Just
a handful of
stacked.
players that I miss, but yeah, had we beat the Lakers in the Western Conference Finals, we would have been the favorites to win the championship that year.
So this
easy.
year, what do you attribute the Nuggets' success to?
Mike Malone.
Yep.
The coaching has been
Coaching
lights
is
out.
everything.
I mean,
the biggest difference over the last few years this year is the effort and consistency that we've been able to produce on defense.
Okay.
and all of our young players have progressed
And
significantly farther than
Oh, yeah.
what was expected of
Like-
them, and they've bought into Malone's game plan.
Like progressing faster than anticipated?
Yeah, Jamal Murray's 21,
20, maybe
What?
22.
and he's
No, he's not
yeah,
that young.
and he's
I'm going to the Goobs.
he's taking control
Do it.
of games, and
That's the
like
thi-
he's a
his-
seasoned vet.
Innate leadership ability on the court is infectious.
Yeah.
Like the one game that we've got to go to this season, he put up 48.
48, yeah.
Against the Celtics.
It was literally being in that arena was like infectious.
When he put
His
up what
energy was
45 or 46
infectious.
against Phoenix,
46 against Phoenix and 35 last night against the Kings.
33 was in the second half.
Yeah.
Wow.
Which is...
But
When
like
he's on fire,
21?
like, he's unstoppable.
21
Verified?
years
Verified?
old, born February 23rd, 1997.
oh god.
Yeah.
1997.
I
I was
remember
like,
making fun
I
of
was
kids
a
born in the
9-year-old.
late
I'm pretty sure
90s,
half
right?
of our team is under 25.
Yes.
And there's only two players above 30.
Millsap.
No, one.
It's like Millsap, and
I
then
think
Nicola's
IT.
23.
IT's
Yeah.
29.
Gary
IT's
Harris
29.
is
He's getting ready to turn
24.
30.
Like, it's
We
a
have-
super young team.
Wow.
Second youngest team in the league.
Yeah.
Paul
They're-
Millsap is the old man at 33.
Yeah. But
And
I
he's
mean,
killing it.
going back
Yeah.
to Mike Malone, the Nuggets were down by 13 against the Kings last night, and at halftime, Mike, I don't know what he said to the team, but he definitely laid into them about turnovers, our assist rate, because the second half we looked like a completely different team.
Rebounding effort.
We started on like a 12-0 run in the third quarter, and then ended up taking the lead. We ended up winning the game by 4, but Jamal Murray put up 33.5, which was
In the second.
really fun to watch, but at the same time you're like pinching yourself, making sure it's not a dream. Like,
didn't
as a
fall asleep
Nuggets
at
fan,
halftime, right?
as a Nuggets fan, you're like, is this happening? Like, are we finally being
Is
blessed?
this really us?
Like-
This is our team.
Well, and what's crazy is to speak to the effect that Mike Malone has had on the entire team and the bench unit is the fact that we were missing 2 starters pretty much all of December, and we went 5-3. Gary Harris and Paul Millsap were both out for pretty much the
Right.
entire month,
Barton's been out for basically the entire season.
basically the entire season. And Beasley and
Monty Morris.
Plumlee,
Yeah.
Morris,
They've all stepped up.
Wancho, everybody stepped up,
Yeah.
and they've all bought in, and we have probably
Wow.
one of the best bench units in the league.
No one wants to be, the showstopper, the guy. But like
It's
last
a
night,
true
like
team
Jamal
effort.
Murray was like he knew that he had to be the guy,
But it
and
seems
he
like
took that
when-
role on.
it
But it
seems
changes from game to game on who that guy is.
Right, like when you see a guy catch fire, you don't get jealous, you don't get petty.
You feed him the ball.
support him, you
Yeah.
push him forward.
And we saw that with Malik
That's
Beasley
magic.
earlier this week against the Knicks on New Year's Day. He put
That
up
was a
like
game-
25,
career high.
right?
Career high, yeah.
Yeah, and
everyone just rallied around him.
we pulled this dude out of the Gatorade League, the developmental NBA,
Gatorade
like the G League.
I know, it just makes me laugh so hard.
But, like,
It's really what it is. It's the Gatorade League.
Now he's being seen as a very explosive player, and
Can drop it
over the next
from anywhere on
couple
the court.
years. Miles and I were looking at the free agency perspectives, if you will, and we've got a lot of our young, solid core as restricted free agents. So when they do hit the
Okay.
market, the Nuggets will have the opportunity to either match or exceed whatever any other team offers these players. But it's exciting to see that we're gonna have trade bait to get new draft picks to continue this solid run, and I definitely see the Nuggets possibly creating like a new dynasty in this completely new era of the NBA.
How long do you think we'll have like this set of core players?
I would call the core.
We've got Jokic, Murray, Harris, all for at least the next 2
And
or
Barton.
3 years, and Barton.
Um,
With Murray's still on his rookie contract.
yeah, so he's going to get paid
he's-
next year.
Yeah,
Like, they're going to extend him similar to how Jokic got extended before the contract is up.
yeah.
Like, don't even give him a chance to hit free agency. Like, you're doing well. We're going to reward you. I wouldn't say that Murray is
Especially
going to
with
get a
how-
max contract, but it also hinges on how well we complete this year. I say if we make it to the Western Conference Finals, like Charles Barkley's predicting,
He's calling it now.
They should. At this
Write it
point,
down.
they
Oh,
should
yeah.
make it.
Oh, yeah.
But they have no playoff experience, so
Paul Millsap and IT.
but
So-
that's the
Pretty
other
much
side
it.
is they're all young and they can make that deep run because they're young and they have that energy
Yeah.
to keep
and
up.
the
And
agility.
our bench unit is so prominent.
And they're hungry.
Yeah.
Like, that's the other side.
yeah.
It's like, it doesn't matter about experience. Like, they go out
It's
there
about
and they're
desire
playing at
and
110, 120% every single night. And even the games that we've lost, haven't really been blowouts. Like, they've gone back and forth. Like, yeah,
Put up a
we've
good
had
fight.
issues with turnovers here and there. But our rebounding is probably the best in the league. I don't have any stat sheets in front of me right now, but our offensive boards have been exceptional, to say the least. And so that offers us second chance points, and that's basically how we won against the Kings last night. Was 25 or 28 points were second chance points. So that was a quarter
yeah.
Wow.
that's
of what we
Wow.
scored.
Well, we also-
was on missed shots.
We
And then
also
got the ball
out
back.
rebounded the Kings 54-33,
Yeah,
which is almost unheard of nowadays.
yeah.
So
Especially with Cauley Stein on the Kings.
we're the best in the West right now.
Record,
But by
record-wise.
how much?
like a game. The whole West
Game and a half.
is stacked.
So it's okay. So it's not like we've got a hard lead.
no.
We're fighting to keep that first spot.
These standings are going to get shuffled
It's the
over the
NBA
next couple
that's
weeks.
quite unbalanced, right, regarding the West and the East.
Yeah, there's
Definitely.
probably, I'd say 4 teams in the East that are like
Contenders.
good, and they will be able to
And maybe only
compete
like 1 or 2 sleepers.
against the West. And I would say that's Toronto Raptors, Boston Celtics, Philadelphia 76ers, and who am I missing?
Milwaukee.
Milwaukee Bucks, yeah. Those are the top 4 teams in the East that can keep up with the Western teams.
And who are the Nuggets fighting in the West for that top spot?
The Thunder, the Warriors, the Rockets.
kind
could
of,
make
kind
a
of the Blazers.
could make a case for the Blazers, kind of the Clippers. The Lakers are going to get LeBron back because he's been out for a week and expected another week.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, we're coming up on the All-Star break. What is that, first or second week of February?
Yeah.
So
The Pacers out in the East are on fire right now.
Yep.
But
Yeah, the Pacers, I would call them a sleeper team. Like,
Yeah.
they don't get a lot of love similar to the Nuggets because
Okay.
they're not a big market team.
yeah.
and they don't really have any big names aside from Oladipo.
Yeah. But the Nuggets have, what did you say? They have 18 games in January?
16.
16. So it's going to be a grueling process, and that's where our average age of our team is definitely going to play a role.
It's a
Like, if we
benefit.
can, if we can win 10 to 12 of these games in January, we'll definitely be in a good spot going into the All-Star break. And then after the All-Star break, that's when the NBA ramps up and everyone like steps up to how they can compete.
Okay.
And out of the rest of the 14 games, I'd say about half of those could go either way. I mean, the Rockets here on Monday in Houston is just that's gonna be tough because of how well they're playing.
Yeah.
They're
Harden
on a tear.
wants that MVP for 2 years straight.
And then the Warriors on the 15th.
We're going to that game.
And I want to say the Sixers and the Pelicans that near the end of the month are probably going to be pretty tough, especially with how...
True tests
Yeah.
as to how good the Nuggets are.
Because I would say right now, the Nuggets are the best Colorado sports team.
Yes.
They've
Oh,
got
yeah.
a bit
Better-
of
oh,
a, they've got
Active team, yeah.
a hard road ahead of them. Like they're gonna have to maintain this. But if you're listening to this and you've never considered yourself a basketball fan, become a basketball fan.
Yeah.
Like this is the team. This is the Colorado team that is on fire right now.
This is the last year you can like become a fan without being
a
blamed,
bandwagoner.
like, as a bandwagoner.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, especially with how young our team is, we're going to be able to retain most of them.
I mean, Jamal Murray
put role
is
players in.
special.
Yeah.
Like
When he
Jokic
gets hot,
is
he's
great because
unstoppable.
he's such a great character. Like he's got such a funny and interesting persona because he's just kind of a goofball.
But he also doesn't like he wants to get in other people's heads. Like
Yeah.
he's an instigator.
He wants to do it in like it's not in the traditional kind of macho fashion.
No.
He
Oh, no.
wants to like break you down in a very manipulative kind of sly, subtle.
And then flip you upside down and take your lunch money.
Exactly. Yeah, and then at the
Very
end of it, be like,
unathletic.
I didn't mean anything bad by it. It was just fun and games. It was nothing. But Murray plays with ferocity. Like when he's on the court, it's like he's got tunnel vision, and that's something you want. I feel like from any professional athlete.
And what I love about Jokic is, I feel like he enables that out of Murray and out of everybody on the team.
Oh, their
He's-
two-man game is becoming scary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh, yeah.
They complement
They're-
each other
the
way
chemistry
too well.
is... Yeah.
And
I
you
love
said
that.
Jokic was quoted last night like, I'm a point guard trapped in a center's body.
Yeah.
Like,
He really is.
Smoke Jokic line ever.
Jokic, like, and as a point guard, if you're listening to this and you're kind of starting to learn more about basketball, the point guard is the floor general. He dictates where the ball's going, who's
Kind of like a play caller.
like no, they do call
Yeah.
the plays. You know, the coach draws up multiple plays throughout practices, and then typically they're assigned numbers or names. And sometimes you'll see that point guard dribbling it down and hold up a number. They're like, number three. The other team doesn't know what play number 3 is, but if you've been listening in practice, you should know what play number 3 is. And these
And as a
professionals,
professional, you've better been listening.
it's
in
kind of
practice.
like reading signs in baseball. Like signs always change, plays always change. So when you watch film, you can't really focus on what play is what number because that could be completely
gonna be
different the
different,
next
yeah.
game. But being able to have a 7-footer and your prototypical point guard being able to do the same thing, like we can have Jokic walk the ball up and he can call a play. And then all of a sudden, like, Jokic is underneath the basket without the ball, and then he has the ball, and then he's pump faking you like 6 times. And it's just
Up and
it's,
under scoop.
It's fun to watch. It's not historical, typical basketball plays. And I definitely see the long term for Mike Malone kind of creating a Popovich-like environment for the Nuggets.
Similar to how Pop and Tim Duncan were.
Yeah, like you see players always commend Greg Popovich. He's been coaching the Spurs for like 17 or 18 years.
How
Was it-
old is he now?
He's like pushing 65 or 70.
I gotta know.
But the dude has 5 rings.
Pop would probably be like, kind of like the
He's
Belichick
69.
of basketball.
69. Yeah.
Like currently.
But, like,
He will turn 70 in 3 weeks.
Everyone
Yeah.
Jeez.
everyone either wants to learn under Popovich or they like show complete respect for his
reverence
aptitude.
almost.
Yeah, like
Even
it was
Kawhi.
almost like how the league held who's it, Mark Jackson, who's the coach of the Lakers and Bulls. I'm drawing a blank. Phil
Jackson.
Shame on me. Phil Jackson.
That one guy.
The Zen master. No, Popovich is the next best coach behind Phil Jackson's era career. But
Dominance.
I definitely see, if Mike Malone can take this young core from the Nuggets and make a deep playoff run, like if we make it to the championship as a Nuggets fan, like even if we lose, that kind of puts our foot down and says, hey, everyone
We're
needs to be
here.
talking about us. Because guess what? All of our core players are on contract. This team is going
And
to
our
stay like this.
Babies.
And
Well, and until the Nuggets do something in the playoffs, they're not going to get any respect.
But
they
I
were-
kind of think that I kind of love the fuel to the fire.
we missed the playoffs by one game last year. And we had basically the same team that we have right now.
Just a little bit older,
Millsap
more experienced.
missed basically half the season last year, so he's much healthier this year. And obviously,
And he's
our
arguably,
record
like-
is better.
He's arguably one of our more consistent players at both ends of the court.
Yeah, offensively and defensively. Absolutely. So, like, had we beat the Timberwolves on the very last game last year, we would have seen what that team was capable of in the playoffs. But unfortunately, we lost. I'm pretty sure in overtime, if I'm remembering correctly.
Yep.
It was very frustrating as a Nuggets fan because I knew we were a good team and we weren't as bad as an 8th seed. And so now that we have a healthy team, well, quote unquote a healthy team, because
We're still waiting for.
we've got Will
4 dudes.
Barton. MPJ's probably going to be redshirted this season, even though I don't want to accept that. And then IT's just been getting paid to rehab himself. But those are all 3 players that are expected to produce when they step on the court.
I
Well,
would
like
love
with
to
them,
see IT around the All-Star break.
That'd be fantastic.
well,
Just
with
feed under him.
MPJ, like we've shown that like we don't really need him right now.
No.
Might as well just let him heal
Yeah,
up for
don't
the rest
risk
of the season.
it.
Same
Do
with
not
IT.
risk
Yeah,
it.
that's
I
true.
mean, with Beasley and Morris, they've just shown that they can fill that role coming off the bench.
And that also means that we don't need to re-sign IT because he's on a 1-year, $2 million deal.
I
Let
think
him
he's-
let him walk next year, and Monty Morris will have a much larger role, knowing that he's another young player and he will be a backup, like borderline 6th man.
Kind of same position Will Barton was in last year.
Yeah,
I mean, like I kind of hope that Malone doesn't fall in love with IT because he's the type of player to where he could have a really good game and go off for 38 points.
yeah.
And
I wouldn't
then
be opposed to
Malone's
him.
like-
You.
But it's like I'd rather just have him get 15 to 20 minutes a game if he's hot.
Yeah.
Like don't fall in love with him too much.
No.
That's
Oh,
what
yeah.
I'm worried about.
And he's getting older. He's undersized for the NBA, and coming off of hip surgery and hip injury, like that's similar to a core injury. It's not easy to come back from as the same player you were prior to that kind of injury.
There's
But-
no way there should be an expectation that he's going to return to MVP form.
No, there shouldn't
Or
be that expectation. But
candidacy for
he's on that contract to kind of show people like what he can do, because when he went to Cleveland, like everyone discounted that he wasn't good, and then he got sent to the Lakers, and the Lakers were like, meh. So like this is an opportunity for him to produce and show that he is worth more than a $2 million contract, but he can't do that if he's on the bench for the entire season.
Right.
I just want him back by the All-Star break, get his legs under him, get some minutes in, and then he can be that veteran
Voice
that we use in the playoffs.
Oh yeah, that too. Like
Use him and Millsap,
yeah, that'll be definitely solid. But
not necessarily bring him back next year.
yeah. I'm excited for the Nuggets this season, and outside of how we've started this new year, they're in good hands with Mike Malone, and all of the players that are injured are looking good as far as their timetable for recovery, and the players that are playing well. So
we don't need to rush anyone back.
Yeah, there's really
Yeah,
no
Which is great.
negative news for the Nuggets, and that's fine. Like, as long as they can fly under the radar the rest of this season, come playoff time, there's going to be teams that are like, hey, we can't underestimate these kids because they're good. They're really good.
Oh, yeah. I just hope they can hold up in like a Game 7 of the Western Conference Finals.
I think we're so good it won't come down to a game.
Okay.
Oh,
right.
you
All right.
heard it here, ladies and gentlemen.
So, since Miles and I are the basketball aficionados, how are the Avalanche looking?
Well, we are not
Garbage
aficionados. We are not as good as you guys with the Nuggets. But, yeah, the Avs have been
Well, they're
on
up,
a horrible
3-0
cold
right now?
streak.
Last time I
on
looked.
the
We're
Rangers.
watching the game right now against the Rangers.
Yeah, we're in between the second and third period right now. I believe they're up 3-0.
Yeah, last time I checked. Which the Rangers are awful, so they should
And they're
be
in a
on.
rebuilding year. They're not playing for anything. We better win this game. It will be embarrassing if we
They're
don't.
just playing to
we have
figure out
the
their
Senators
roster.
draft pick for the offseason, correct?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
How are the Senators looking since we are in rebuilding phase or mode?
Better than expected. They're still in like the bottom 10 of the league. I don't know
Okay.
exactly where they're at. Might be able to look that
But
up.
even as they finish, like the Avs would be looking at, top 7 to top 10 pick.
Yeah. And it's the NHL does a lottery just like the NBA. So even if it's a 5 pick, it could be a 3 pick. In the end.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. And the Avs were off to such a hot start when the season started. But unfortunately, they have 6 losses in a row. And out of the last 4 games, have been lost by 1 goal. And 2 of those losses were in overtime.
So at least they gained the point for an overtime loss.
For 2 of those games, yeah. But as a fan, I find it frustrating that these last 4 losses have been by 1 goal. Because I feel like they were all winnable games.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the Avs are
All winnable games that they let drop.
The Avs are 1-8 in overtime this year.
Oh, that's the thing. When the Avs go to overtime, you might as well turn off the TV. Like, they have not proven that they can handle themselves in overtime.
Well, and 4 of those losses came in the first minute of overtime too. It's like
They check out.
I
They don't
just-
treat it
well-
like another period. They don't treat it like, we need to go in and be competitive.
well, 3-on-3 hockey is a lot different than 5-on-5.
Of course.
Like, there's a lot more space you have to cover. And for whatever reason, like, they're a fast team. For whatever reason, they just seem like they're lost on the
Well,
ice.
then game plan for that. I mean, we have found ourselves in overtime a lot this season. And I put that on coaching. If you're not preparing your players for 3-on-3 and how to be competitive and to get those victories.
Especially knowing that the end of the game is going to be tight.
Yes,
You should be
exactly.
prepared to take it to overtime if it
And
comes
you
to
should
that.
know you should know the exact 3 that you can put out there to get the job done, and that's clearly not the case.
Or
with the
if you're
Avs.
up, 3 or 4 goals, just don't let the other team come back.
Well, and that's the thing. The game
Right?
against the Sharks on Wednesday,
That was
the offense looked fine. Jost had a good game. Finally, he had a good game on offense. He got 2 scores, but the defense and the goaltending was just non-existent.
well. The Avs were down 4-1 halfway through the second period, so they pulled Grubauer and put Francouz in, and they lost 5-4 eventually. Like, they came back in the third period, but when you're down 4-1 in the second, it's not
It's
a lot.
like a
of hope.
lost game.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But they went into the second just down 2-1. They were still in it going into the second and quickly lost their footing.
Oh yeah, because they gave up 2 goals within the first 7 minutes of the second period. When defense has been awful lately, and goaltending has been a disaster.
Farley's benched.
Yeah, I mean in the last 12 games, they're 4-12. Grubauer's save percentage is 88.2, which he was at about 93. Like,
Do you know
after
what
a
the
month
league
and a half.
average is for goaltenders?
It's about 90 to 91.
So he's below average.
Yeah.
Yes, significantly.
And
Whereas
Varley's
he's
at
above prior.
86% in the last 12 games. Francouz is at 94%. He's played 2
small
games.
sample size.
Right?
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
2 games. But
We're not
it's
pulling
like,
a lot of
I'm
data
getting to
there.
the point where it's like, give him a start. Like, his 2 games that he's
Yeah,
played.
Show
he's
me
tough.
what you got.
Yeah, the 2 games that he's played, it's because Varley and Grubauer got pulled, and they put him in. And he's looked really good.
And that's
in
a lot
those
of
games.
pressure to be thrown in mid-game and save the day.
Especially for being a rookie.
Yeah, correct me.
I didn't know he was a
Yeah.
rookie.
Well, this is his first year in the NHL.
Okay.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but Grubauer and Varley started hot this year, right?
Yeah, Varley was
Yeah.
at
Both of them.
95%
Yeah.
through
Wow.
the first month.
Do you think that's more themselves or other teams keying in on their weaknesses?
Well, Varley, he's...
Or game planning to a point where they just get
Are
those opportunities.
compromised, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Varley, he's always been a very streaky goalie, and he's
Yeah.
like 30, 31, so he's aging.
He's hot or he's not. Like,
Yeah.
there's
Yeah.
no in between
like
with
he's
Varley.
either unstoppable or he just lets everything by. And that's kind of been his whole career. And he's a scratch tonight and the last 2 games. It was undisclosed. That's my air quotes. What the issue was.
Basically, like coach's decision.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like, we need you in street clothes.
Exactly. So
Look sharp.
like I was excited for the Avs goaltending coming into the season, and it could always get better. But these last 12 games have just been awful, and the defense has been complete crap as well.
And this just, it feels like more than a slump right now. Like, I feel like there's some legitimate issues that they need to work out in game planning and coaching.
Well, and how typical is it that a team carries 3 goalies? Because from what I remember, I paid a lot of attention to NHL in like the mid 2000s, and it always seemed like you had your go-to starter with like 1 backup. But I'm sure it's like obviously teams have had 3 in the past, but as far as like this season has gone, are there a lot of teams that carry 3 goalies?
No, typically not, just because you have 20 people on your active roster. And so your first 4 lines, so that's 12. And then 3 defensive lines, so that's 6. And you really don't want to break those up.
Yeah,
So, I mean,
right.
you can remove, defensemen or an offensive
So that's why
player.
Varley's been a scratch.
Exactly.
And would that
Like,
be
you typically...
a factor as to why our defensive lines have not been good?
I think the defensemen have been okay. It's just the
Like as a team,
offense, as a team defense, it hasn't been good.
like back checking and
Yeah. Like Landeskog, Rantanen, and McKinnon, like they're all decent defenders, just not lately.
Okay.
It seems like Gerard, Barry, Eric Johnson, like they've been fine. It's just the 3 other guys that are on the ice with them have not been very good.
Interesting.
So I think as far as the defensive lines go, that's been
They're
okay.
solid.
But 2 guys can't take on 5 guys.
No.
And they're all
Yeah.
pretty
Might be
young
tough.
team, or like the
Yeah.
wing center lines are all pretty young, right?
Oh yeah. Yeah, the Avs have a very young team.
So maybe it's a good learning experience for them, and getting up to speed, literally.
Face a little adversity.
Yeah.
Well, and coming into the season, like we all knew that secondary scoring was going to be an issue. So, like in the last 12 games, the top line, which is Landeskog, McKinnon, and Rantanen, they've combined for 17 goals. The entire rest of the team have gotten 14.
Whoa.
Yeah,
The other 3 lines.
and the defenseman.
Wow.
So the other 15 players that can score a goal.
Yeah, you can't rest on the laurels of 3 players.
No.
That's not.
And they can't play for
Realistic.
60 minutes on the ice either.
No.
Hockey being one of the most physical, draining sports in existence.
You gotta show a lot of.
You need a
respect
comprehensive
for-
team.
But I mean, like you see hockey players play until they're 40 all the time,
Yeah.
and like it's impressive because it's a really physical sport, and it's not like football where you run for 10 seconds and then you stand for a minute and a half.
Right.
Right.
Like you're constantly going at 100%
Yep.
when you're on the ice.
And skating. That's still the concept of playing such a physical sport while ice skating.
Yeah, the
Blows
the
my
endurance
mind.
that it takes to play hockey is impressive.
And
What-
the mental side of the game as well.
Oh yeah, for sure. Well, like not to go away from the Avs, but Ovechkin, he's like 31, I think, and he's less than 300 goals away from Gretzky's record. So if he averages less than 30 goals a season for the next 9 years, he could beat his record. Like that's something.
wow.
That's something I want to watch.
That was
If
thought
he
to
can
be
do it,
like
that's-
untouchable
Exactly.
too,
Right.
Yeah, because Gretzky had over 900 goals, and Ovechkin's at like 650 or something
Wow.
like that. So it's
You
like
think
that-
he can get it 1,000.
I would love to see it.
That would be crazy.
Right?
And that's just as a hockey fan. Like,
Just as a sports
when-
fan
yeah.
in general,
when
like
you
that's a
see
feat
players that are going above and beyond.
in any sport.
Putting themselves in that
Oh,
talk of,
not
like,
just
all-time
elite,
greats.
but literally the greats.
Yeah.
That'd be like someone catching over 200 receiving touchdowns.
Yeah,
In the NFL.
in a career.
Yeah.
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 Because Jerry Rice is at 197, and the next closest is what, 160
Something like that.
or some crazy
This is
thing.
like completely random, but apparently DeAndre Hopkins, I can't remember the exact targets.
115
it
and
was something
0.
like 115 and 0 drops.
Yeah.
What? On
He's-
the season?
He's
Yeah.
so underrated, it's
And
stupid.
the next Fitz.
Yeah. Anyways, back to hockey.
Back to hockey. We could go down that rabbit hole. So yeah, the Avs are looking good right now against the New York Rangers. They're up 3-0 with 16 minutes left in the third.
I
They
also
have
just-
to win this game. The Rangers are in rebuild mode. They do not care. They are playing for nothing. They are checked out. It would
Hey,
be
they're playing for draft
embarrassing.
picks.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I mean,
Yeah.
I also just saw a stat maybe 2 minutes ago game time
Yeah.
that through the first two periods, the Avalanche had 33 shots on goal. The Rangers had 10.
Well, they've been on.
See, there's good
See,
defense.
They've been
Yeah.
on.
They've
the
had a
Rangers have
lot
been on
of-
penalty kill.
But also
yeah.
lack
the
of
whole
effort.
game.
Well, yes, and
Yes.
penalties on penalties. So it's looking good for the Avs right now that they're going to walk away from this game with a win
Thank goodness.
because they're on a 3-day break until Tuesday, and then they go on a 5-game road trip in Canada.
It's going to
They
be tough.
start off against the Jets, who are leading in the division.
Yeah.
We have
Ooh.
fallen. The Avs have fallen to 4th in the division. They have 46 points. They are currently
That's only
being
been over the
led
last,
in
like,
the
3
Central
weeks, right?
Division. Yep,
Well,
exactly.
the Avs were 8 points ahead of the Stars like a week and a half ago.
And now we're behind the Stars.
Ooh.
Jets are
Yeah.
first, then Predators, then Stars, then the Avs are rolling in 4th with 46 points. They have their work cut out for them on this road trip in Canada. And they face the Jets, then the Flames, then the Canadiens, then the Maple Leafs, and then the Senators.
It's not going to be easy.
No, they've got to show up ready to fight and ready to completely go all in.
4-0.
4-0? Good.
Yes.
So hopefully this what's looking to be a victory, I don't want to speak too soon, but what's currently looking good can give some momentum going into this road trip. And I feel like the outcome of this road trip is going to be pretty consequential on how the Avs wrap up the season. I
Yeah,
mean, they have a
'cause-
lot of ground to make up in the standings right now, and this is where they have to do it.
Well, the next 4 games are against potential playoff teams. And I would say they should easily beat the Senators, but they lost to the Blackhawks, who are at the bottom of the league, and the Kings, who are near the bottom. So I don't know what to expect out of them
They
right
need
now.
to go in
I mean,
focused.
given, the Rangers are rebuild mode, not really checked into the game, it'll be a good mentality boost going into this road trip with a victory like this. If we can shut out the Rangers and just dominate in all facets,
It would
All right.
help, for sure.
yeah.
Well, Jared Bednar, he's been pissed last week. The Avs coach, he's not been happy. And he hasn't seen the results. So, I mean, this is a very talented team. Like, I'd be pissed,
Yeah.
too, if
Oh,
they're
yeah.
playing like this. So, I mean, they should be 1 or 2 in the division, in
Yep.
my
At
opinion.
least he's
with
not
the
talking
Mavs
about
out
how
there.
good they're doing in practice.
Yeah.
When starting the season, everyone was pretty
Getting off
much
to a fast
expecting
start.
them to be a playoff team.
And they should be.
Yeah.
They have absolutely no excuse not to be a playoff contender. And so it's been, and that's what kills me about these games that are lost by 1 score.
Exactly.
They're right there. That's yours to win. It's yours to take. But you have to take it. You can't just show up and play. You have to take it.
Well, they have probably the best top line in hockey. So if everybody else could just play average,
Is
I think the
Rantanen
Avs would be
still...
okay.
Wasn't he leading the league in points?
Yes. He's led the league in points for most of the season. I'm not sure where he's at right now.
Gotcha.
Because I know for a while it was Rantanen and then McKinnon right behind him.
Ooh,
And then Landeskog was like 5 or 6.
that's scary.
Yeah. And this is the best year that Landeskog has had in his career. It's like, this is a scary line. But McKinnon's kind of fallen off a little bit lately. And I feel like the team, they feed off McKinnon. Like, if he's not doing well,
Well, and
the
what's
team doesn't do
frustrating
well.
is he can change the tempo of a game. He just has to choose to do it. When he chooses to really show up and go all in, the team follows. But if he just shows up and clocks in, the team follows.
And then clocks
Yeah.
out.
Collects his game check.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And you have to accept that responsibility.
Mm-hmm.
With great talent comes great responsibility.
I don't think it's him not caring. I just think he's in a slump right now. It happens in sports.
Of course, and the psychology of
mental
sports,
health,
the
or mental-
psychology of sports fascinates me to no end.
Mental strength.
Yep. And
You gotta
truly,
pull
the
yourself
the
out of it,
mental health of an athlete, like, it's a factor.
Yeah.
And it's pretty inconceivable. Like, it's not something that we can, as fans or even as sports analysts out there, have been able to pinpoint and kind of strictly define.
No.
It's always in flux and always in motion, and there's no telling, so.
Yeah. And how they handle that, I have no idea. That's why they make millions and millions of dollars.
Exactly.
And they have families. Don't forget about
And
their
lives,
Right.
right? like, these people have, like, full-on existence off the ice or the court or the field that are obviously playing a factor into their mentality that we'll never know about, and we shouldn't because it's their life.
Yeah.
And it's none of our business. But on that note, to wrap things up, the Broncos are hunting for a head coach, and
The Nuggets are on
fingers
fire.
crossed, the Nuggets are on fire. If you haven't paid attention, wake up and pay attention to the Denver Nuggets, please. The Avs still
Are
have a
about
lot
to
of
be on
potential. Have been in a slump, but are about to get it back.
I think
And
they're melting the ice.
before
Yes.
That they've
we
been frozen.
know it, spring training will be here for the Colorado Rockies. I am
Yay!
pumped to have baseball back. Time flies when you're old, so that'll be here before we know it. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. We appreciate it. We know especially when teams are in a slump, like the Broncos, it can be tough to stay dedicated as a fan, and we thank you so much to those who have continued listening. Before we sign off, shout out to our guy Steele Krause with Osgood Team Real Estate. If you are looking to buy or sell a home in the Denver metro area, he's your guy. You can reach him at 303-587-5417. Thank you guys so much. Happy New Year.
Goodbye.
Toodles.